How many orders does Blinkit do?
38 lakh orders.
38 lakh orders on a day.
But then again, metrics only tell you what happened. They will not tell you how did the person feel when that happened, right? And what happened later on.
Who do you look up to?
His name is Kohei Sugihara. I think he's the best graphic designer in the world. He knows more about India than we Indians do. He would use everything, He'll use the spine of the book as table of contents. The folding of the paper to show all kinds of imagery. He is so playful in his work.
So at Blinkit, how do you define that problem is worth solving because it's pan-India?
One of the first questions when I came to Blinkit, I was asking the CEOs, do these
Is there a lot of
cities,
difference?
is there a lot of difference? He said, not really.
Joy. Well, pleasure to have you.
Thank you. What a lovely studio.
Joy, it is an absolute joy to have you here.
Yeah, I know.
It's interesting because you studied design about a kilometer away from here,
Yes.
and almost feels like it's a circle. Since your days at IDC to now, if you could quickly summarize your journey.
Saurav, first, thank you so much. Such a beautiful place.
Thank you.
And to be looking out and looking at the lake.
Yeah.
That's a sight for sore eyes. But yes, it's like, I think around 30 years, 93, 95, I was here. And design has changed so much from there on. Again, I'm one of those, never knew what I'm going to do when I grow up. I think now I'm getting a bit of a sense, but mostly drifted into things. So right after IIT, a friend of mine and I just decided let's go to Delhi because there's no design scene there. So we'll sort of crack it open. So, I mean, almost right away we started consulting. We set up a small studio, and I mean, I don't think we ever intended to make a company or get into technology.
So you started a studio right after IDC.
Almost within 3
and
to 4 months.
And this is around 90s.
95.
This is pre-App Store,
Absolutely.
pre-internet boom. What were you offering as a design service?
So the first thing was, there was the time of actually desktop printing. It was pretty big.
Okay.
And you also had CDs and DVDs. So we could build a lot of CD-based programs. So
Okay.
I don't know if you remember, there were some actually pretty big, I don't quite remember them, but used to sell a lot of these courseware,
Rosetta Stone,
those kinds
that
of
kind of-
games
yeah.
that came on, and infotainment sort of systems that came on CDs. So we did a whole lot of that. We also did a lot of print work for companies. Internet was sort of just coming in, and people were toying with these platforms. And I remember one of the big companies sold for a grand 500 crore kind of a number, and then suddenly there was this, by 1998 there was a massive boom. So everybody wanted to build platforms. There were tons and tons of startups. So yeah, within I think couple of years it became a very interesting space.
So you were doing digital before digital was a thing.
Yes.
Like I remember graduating and not having the courage to really do my own thing. What gave you guys the courage to say, hey, we're going to do our own studio right off the bat after IDC?
It's like, I think both of us were a bit misfits. I tried working for a company for a couple of months. Again, that was Apple's developer partner or something. And they used to sell a lot of Apple programs. But then, we said, okay. And he was more into filmmaking. So, both from, he also tried his work working for TV studios and news stations, etc. But it sort of didn't kind of work out what we expected as designers and what we have been taught. So he said, okay, there's an opportunity to really build something. So for a few years, I think both of us tried different things. But because we stayed together, we sort of finally said, chalo, let's build something. Yeah.
And then you ran that for about 21 years?
I think more than that, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
21 years. And that's when you moved to the industry side of things.
Yes.
You were at ClearTrip, and then you were at Flipkart.
So ClearTrip got acquired by Flipkart. So
Okay,
when I joined, that was already part of Flipkart, the same campus, same
Yeah.
everything. And then I moved
Then
to
Zomato, and then Blinkit.
yeah.
All right. So before I get into the more detailed questions, there are two cards on the table in front of you.
Okay.
And you probably have seen them before. They are Uno reverse cards.
Okay.
And you have two of them. You can use them at any point in this conversation. If you feel you need to reverse the question back to me, okay, so feel free to use them or not use them.
Okay.
So yeah, that's it. I am going to now get you into a segment called Confession Room.
Okay.
Right?
Wow.
So consulting, then ClearTrip, then Zomato, Blinkit. What's changed in you across that journey?
I think now I tolerate things a bit more. I wasn't the best of the guys when I was running my own ship. I was like, I had this band of whatever quality or excellence, and it was not very nice working with me, is what I'm told.
Okay.
But when you get into a larger team setup like this, then you have to work with a lot of people. Then you realize that, just because you said something, it'll not get done. And you have to start working with teams. More than anything, I think I've started having a slightly longer term
View.
View of people in my team, much longer term view of, because I'm into now very large scale products, which also means that I have to think a little differently. When you're running your own bit, and again, services, products, the ownership is a little shallow for you, because after all, it's somebody else's product. Right?
Yeah.
You do.
So you're at an arm's length.
Yeah, you're a little there. Although we did run, I think one of the programs or projects we ran for 11 years, there's another one, 7. We used to have very long-term clients. So I could get a sense of exactly how things were, and it could work strategically in terms of, but once you get into a company like this, then you're working on one product or one line of business.
When you say you started to take a long-term view of people,
Right.
what do you mean by that?
So it's like this. Everybody kind of goes through cycles. So initially when people come in, there's a lot of enthusiasm.
Yeah.
There's a lot of need to learn. And then at some point, I think it's just the way the work is, the definition of work, the way we come to work. It's somewhere your thing flags. And then it's your job to bring that motivation
So
back.
get people through those cycles?
Through cycles, yes. If you just saw them only at the lowest, then I think the perception, and I think that's kind of what happens many times in companies, is that you go through those annuals, appraisal. Now, if your last 3 months have been really bad, then you've had it. So, but I think a long-term view kind of sets you where they are. Secondly, I think everybody has certain skills. Now, we want our designers to be everything nowadays. But I think some people have very specific skills, and it's very important to give them that space where they can flower. And I don't believe that everybody has to be a generalist.
Everything,
There could be a lot of specialists. In fact, design is, as a person, you're a generalist, but your job is very of a specialist.
very
So
specialized.
I think giving that space is also important. I think what companies do is that we sometimes, especially very large ones, package or slot people into a certain mold.
Yeah.
I think it's important to break those, especially for a design team.
What was the biggest adjustment for you? That was hard for you to come to terms with, I guess.
One, I was okay, when you're running a service company, you're okay negotiating a lot with external stakeholders.
Sure.
I never had to negotiate so much with internal stakeholders. So
the negotiation never ends.
Never ends, yeah.
It continues.
And especially, I thought design meant being innovative, being creative. So when I went into, say, ClearTrip, now that's a fairly corporatized structure. Everything runs on a structure, plans. You have these 3-month plans, etc. So I thought, like, when I get my teams to work on something new and ingenuous, they'll be all be excited. And they said, "Sorry, if this is not shipping, I'm not going to be working on it." So
So you had less freedom?
well, I didn't quite care.
Okay.
So I still got a few guys to, once in a while work with me, happy or unhappy. But I'm very happy to report that they all ended up being doing very well later. So a lot of them got into Google, Microsoft, because I thought the process that we're trying to follow in terms of innovation, going back, because again, I think sometimes in larger corporates, you just get slotted as a service org. So you're working with the PM or engineering on a very, that PRD is what defines. And for me, was like, what's the point of a PRD? Let's just think of a problem first. And we used to do a lot of research, like how design thinking goes. We start with the what if.
Yeah.
Good thing for me was I already had a lot of travel background, so I had consulted for eBookers, one of the first travel companies, and honestly, I thought these guys didn't have so much depth in travel. Like ClearTrip had, but when Flipkart sort of came in, they had a very different idea. They were a commerce company, so they possibly saw it as a extension of that, capture the market. They were not wrong, but I think still travel is different. Travel is not same as selling products.
So you're saying you obviously had more ownership when you moved into the industry, just as much negotiation.
A lot of negotiation, and then you're doing it two ways. One is to the leadership team, then with your team. Your own team was more painful because you always believe that designers would be like excited to
more constraints in some way.
Yeah, more constraints. Yeah.
But would it be fair to say you felt your work was making a bigger impact because you could see it actually making it to
that
go live?
Actually was my biggest motivation. Is to really see things at scale, frankly. And luckily I moved from a scale to a larger to a really big scale. So because scale is very interesting.
So on a daily basis, speaking of scale, Joy, how many orders does Blinkit process on any given day?
Right now, I think it's doing 38 lakh orders.
38 lakh orders on a day. And on high traffic days?
So it goes like that, some 38 to 43.
43 lakh.
Yeah. It can probably come down to something like 37, goes up to 40 to 43 on weekends.
Wow.
And that scale keeps moving every month.
So to summarize, what's the one part of your role that you really love right now and one that you really hate? I mean, it's a big word. But
it's both to do with people.
Okay.
I love having a very young, nice, very creative team. In fact, the most pleasurable part of my day is when we are thinking, brainstorming. That's like really wonderful. And then again, the most painful part is also trying to negotiate. Get
so
them
people
to,
tends to fall on both sides of that answer, right?
Yeah.
Well said.
Yes.
Who do you look up to, in the design field or the creative fields as like one person who's your idol?
So this is why I separate work from my passion. Okay. So I am a student of design per se. So I've been looking at design from 1940s or even before that, from Bauhaus, Ulm. So entire modern era of design. There's a lot of influence of Western, thought process, minimalism, and all those things into our design schools, NID, IDC. They all were sort of
were Bauhaus philosophy.
Ulm, I think our professor who set up was at Ulm. But I've been completely gobsmacked when I looked at Japan, when I looked at Middle East. In fact, the entire architecture that we see in the world today, so a lot of it comes from the Islamic Golden Age, right? So there are these designers. There's one called Homa Delvere, fantastic most beautiful designs you can think of. And there, they don't do these anthropomorphic forms. They use text or as symbols.
Really?
Yeah. So the Kufic script she'll use for designing everything. So they start.
So Zaha Hadid type of, was that lineage?
There's a whole lineage
Okay.
of these designers who come from Tehran and Iraq and the entire Turkey. So a lot of Byzantine influence. In fact, most temples, churches, they all follow very similar fractal geometry that runs through even India. It's just that they are more on an abstract form because they cannot have human forms. So their cosmology is a little different. But going back to your question, when I was in college, my professor, Kirti Trivedi, his guru used to come to India and do guest lectures. His name is Kohei Sugihara.
He's Japanese.
He's Japanese and must be very old now. But I think he's the best graphic designer in the world.
Wow.
The amount of work that he has done, I was trying to calculate, I think he was publishing something every day of his life.
Wow.
And very different is the way, Western systems are rational systems, right? They're very physical. The grids are straight lines and there's a gap between, like the stuff that you were talking about, Eastern grids are dynamic. They have hierarchies. Everything has a meaning. And if you started studying Sugihara, although most of it is in Japanese, but it's absolutely crazy the amount of work that he has done. And he would
Did you get a chance to meet him?
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's why. Yeah.
Wow.
And he knows more about India than we Indians do. He would use everything, he would take a book, the spine of a book, because the Japanese script is such.
Yeah.
He'll use the spine of the book as table of contents. So that when they stack like this, you take it out, you know what you're reading. He would use the, the folding of the paper to show all kinds of imagery. So if it's something on cosmos, so you'll have the entire, say, Milky Way on one side. And so he is so playful in his work. And I think he's more of a monk and a philosopher, and many such designers.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's, never heard of him, and I will definitely look him up. Sounds fascinating. The related question, is there a design benchmark in terms of experience today that you think is, wow, that's really an exemplar for me? Now, whether that's digital, physical, but if you had to pick a brand, an organization, or a product that's really like a benchmark for you?
There's so many. But I'll start with the most common ones. Say, for example, Apple. Apple, Johnny Ive, till the time he was there. Again, it doesn't start with Apple. It starts with Xerox Park Alto. It starts with Dieter Rams. Those are the products which are... But then they're doing a good job of bringing that.
Yeah.
What is very significant of Apple is something very different that I don't think people quite understand or know of. Now, anybody who would have used a Macintosh, those little ones, it always started with a smiley.
Yeah.
Right? It was because of the way our relationship with machine has changed.
Yeah. It's trying to add some warmth in there, right?
Yes. So, these guys asked one simple question. It says, if machines or these computers are so smart, why do we have to learn them? Right? And why can't they learn us? And today, that work from 1980s is now showing after 40 years. So that vision,
what an interesting,
that smiley, I think that makes us...
Even the hello, right?
That's why there was a hello, because it wanted to have you that warm, friendly relationship with the machine.
Fantastic. So you're saying that for you is an interesting benchmark of how to create that deeper connection between humans and technology.
It was a big change in the relationship. Because if you went back before that...
so that is in the beginning of that connection being formed.
Before that, it was like machines were...
We had to figure them out.
We had to figure them out. And there's this question, you would have heard many times, pilot error, right? Anything happens.
Pilot error.
It's a pilot error. It's
Aircraft
a
is not to blame.
or user error and things like that. So machines could kill you, and you will still say sorry.
Humans were at fault.
We were at fault. So that was a very big change in the relationship.
Fantastic. Since you were in consulting for a very long time, advising companies on design, what's the one thing most organizations still fundamentally get wrong about design?
I think time.
Okay.
I'm
Timing or time?
Time. So I think the concept of time, it's not only design. I think it's entire business of design and business.
Oh, how time is a variable.
Is a very big factor in which how you build things. Because, for example, if you worked for large companies, Amazon, Flipkart, etc., and if you were part of their product teams who build so many features, you would see the way they measure success would be based on certain metrics. But then again, metrics only tell you what happened.
Yeah.
They will not tell you how did the person feel when that happened, right? And what happened later on. For example, if I make a person, say, buy 10 things on my platform, and the person later regrets buying,
Oh, you will never know that.
he will never possibly blame himself. He'll say, yeah, let me have non-Flipkart days for 10 days. It's a very subtle thing, but it happens with many features that we build for a certain conversion. What happened with Facebook, right? You started building filter bubbles with that little thumbs up, or with Netflix. Initially, it was like engagement, wonderful.
Yeah.
But over a period of 1 year, people started feeling addicted. So every feature, every conversion, you have to sometimes ask what would break in the future.
So you almost like plan its evolution or aging over time because it morphs.
Yes. So that question, when he was answering in terms of when I have a longer term view of people, I have a longer term view
Of experience
Of
also.
experiences also. Yes.
And organizations feel this is something that is static. They don't account for that
If
change
you
over
break
time.
up your year into quarters, and if you measure every quarter, it's difficult to measure the experiences. Some certain things have to be measured longitudinally, especially these kinds of things. If something is succeeding too well, then you have to always question what is it that's breaking.
Good point. Yeah. Let me ask you a question around design leadership. I mean, you're a design leader.
Okay.
What's the one thing holding back designers from becoming leaders? I honestly feel that terms design and leadership usually don't get put together.
I think it's all right. Again, if I'm talking about Johnny Wise, he was really not part of the executive team. We have our own freedom. We have our space. We don't always need the seat on the table. I mean, if that's an obsession.
Yeah, that's the kind
Yeah,
of what I was pointing to.
But then I would say, if you really want a seat on the table, build the table yourself. So, there's an Airbnb and those kinds of.
Which is when I ask people to give me an example of a design-led organization or designer founded, where the designer is at the seat of the table, the one example is Airbnb. But it's unfortunate that that's one of the few rare examples. The biggest innovations tend not to be design-led or designer-led.
Right.
The largest organizations tend not to be.
It's also, I think, with the definition of who the designer is. I think if you get a certificate and if you call yourself
if you design educated.
But there are a whole lot of them are good designers, right? And even for example,
Steve Jobs wasn't a designer per se. Elon Musk is not a designer.
Right. So these guys have a good sense for design, which is again very it's good enough sometimes. But you're right that the many more designers today can actually build companies. Actually, if you just look at product design, maybe you'll have a smaller set. But then there are many designers who built very large agencies. Fashion design, for example, is very designer-led.
So is it because design folks try to avoid talking about business?
Yeah.
They avoid numbers?
only in my experience. I mean, my experience is not complete, but yes, I've seen a lot of designers to be a little shy of these numbers and business. And again, I'm saying it's all right because we should be designing something else. It's not always about making a profitable business, which somebody else is doing and doing very well. You could be partners, and you could certainly build very big companies, but it's all right to be sometimes playing another role. But I would see, I think now, because building has become faster, easier, you should see a
Change
a
in
big, you should see a crop of designers who start becoming more. But overall, India is a different deal altogether. Now that's more to do with, so the same Indians will go abroad and build pretty big companies. But in India, you would see not too many innovators per se. It's because we tend to optimize very well. We are wonderful optimizers.
You're one to end.
Yeah. So constraints, because we know constraints, so we know how to do that. Jugaad is what everybody calls that. So we're wonderful doing that. Again, I think the time factor comes in. For somebody to innovate, you have to have a window of 10 years, 20 years. For example, what like Dipender is doing, he's stepped away from
Returnal
and is building things which, if you think about them, it can seem almost impossible. How are you going to build these systems that you're trying to build? But that's it. That's the innovator's sort of a mindset. You go with that kind of a risk and that kind of a time frame. Maybe he says, okay, fine. If it's going to take me 10 years, I'm going to build it. That again, I think time becomes a factor, and person should have the wherewithal,
the long-term
ability,
view. Again,
very long-term
view.
Yeah, and to struggle and for those. Years,
put the work in, man. Go with the pain. Okay, so that ends the first segment, confession room, and now I want to get to the next segment called Let's Get Serious.
Okay. I'm going to flip that one.
Oh no, I don't think you can flip these on me, so just wait for the question. Quick commerce is starting to look like a category where everyone has the same products. Right. Okay, same inventory, same SKUs, similar speeds, nearly identical UI patterns. Right. Is there a real design play that can create separation and differentiation, or does the moat eventually just become deals?
So the second part of the question, deals and discounts are race to the bottom. So
race to the bottom. Yeah.
So I don't think that's going to sustain. It's not sustainable. I mean, I know many times companies try to counter the unit economics with editorial input, but I still believe that's not a very healthy business model. That's not going to happen, at least, because this is a service, this is a platform. It needs to be sustainable. In terms of what's the differentiation, so these are very long, very complicated supply chains. If you just copy what you're seeing on the screen, so the screen, the interface is just a culmination
very
of
small window into what's happening.
It's a simplification of a very complex
highly simplified.
So what seems like very simple here is actually fired by a whole lot of stuff, automation at the back. So one is that, of course. Other is, again, many micro decisions. See, over the years, the leaders in our companies have taken decisions which I think, again, when I talk about time, maybe that's what do you mean by being customer first? It also means that I value my customer to be with me for a very long time. So I'm not going to break his trust or
for the short-term
games. So little metrics don't make sense. If I have to spend money to keep his convenience at as primary, then I would do it. So I want to bring you more convenience. I want to make things accessible. I want to do it in better time, better quality every time. And also, for example, if you see what Blinkit is doing is going deeper in places where we already are.
Yeah.
It's not just spreading wide and thin. It's more about doing better where you are. At least temporary. That's the strategy, and long term could be
So
whatever.
you're saying playing the long game is the
Yes.
only truly sustainable strategy.
You have to work it out very well. You should know every part of the system very well, and optimize again at every step.
Okay, so there is no podcast is complete without questions on AI.
Okay.
So I'm getting to that segment. I call it AI washing. I mean, just because AI tends to gloss over a lot of things these days.
Yes.
But just obviously on the funny side, where has AI genuinely surprised you in your day-to-day work as a designer? Something you didn't expect it to be good at.
I think the very first was, it's very, very basic. The conversational part of it, the fact that it understood,
Yeah.
no matter how I wrote it.
Natural language.
Natural language, and then having that long context to keep having that context in mind. It was quite brilliant. Of course, see, it's not that AI has just come about. It's just that it sort of came into very common public consciousness because of OpenAI. You may think, that's the epitome of automation, but I think for AI itself, this is the beginning of the curve, right? So when it reaches that accuracy threshold, that's when things would definitely change a lot. But you can already see a lot of signs of what's to come.
Yeah.
So I can't say there's one particular thing, but there are many parts of it. Pattern matching, for example, this was a year and a half back. So we have something called poor packaging or poor quality. AI was able to pick poor quality or a poor packaging far better than human beings could, just by looking at it. So some of those patterns, and then you realize that it does have sort of a global hive mind.
Yeah.
And it does certain things so much better, which are anything which is beyond human scale. That's what machines are supposed to do. They do pretty well. There is, however, one product which I was talk about. I think it's called Da Vinci surgical.
I've heard of this.
Yeah, it's a Da Vinci surgical. When I read about it, the doctors could.
It's a surgical robot.
Yeah, it's a surgical robot. So doctors in New York, they performed surgery in France. So the doctors here, and the surgical tools were, and I think it's done millions of surgeries over the years. So it's not really AI per se, but I'm just
still,
talking about technology that was like, wow. We sort of get too excited by looking at what's happening here.
Actually, the smaller stuff.
Some other stuff, yeah.
Do you think AI gives designers more leverage or less in the larger scheme of things at an organization?
It gives us more time to do the things that matter. I think.
So it actually creates more time for you? I thought designers are even more busier now because people expect iterations faster.
So no, I don't think so. So busier because we're still figuring a lot of things out. So we're very busy. But I think at some point again reaches that accuracy when
So it does save you time.
It does save me time. A lot of PMs are very happy about it because they're able to see variations pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Designers, they're having a bit of a hard time because most of them are a little scared of technology and don't like coding and all.
Yeah.
But I think it's still very exciting for us. Figma has just launched their agent on the Canvas side.
Yeah.
It's still a little slow. I think latency is a factor because if I can just go fix something. But for designers, I think what matters is, personally for me, I would love to design myself. And there are certain things out of which I don't want to do.
Yeah.
Say if I want to have a 3D model somewhere, then I want that to be done by the system. Unless I'm a 3D designer, then I want to do the 3D model and say you do the rest. By the way, tokens are
that's a whole different.
very, very expensive. So I have to keep choosing which parts
So
I
do you
want.
get like a budget that you have to.
Right now we have a budget. Yeah. Otherwise, that can bankrupt any good organization.
Okay, there's a whole generation of designers now, graduating now, who've never worked without an AI tool or AI assistance. What are they going to be missing and what are they going to be better at than us?
So when you open your iPhone camera app, it has those f-stops
Yeah.
and all those pluses and minuses and all. People who have never used a camera, for them it's something to play around with,
Yeah.
but you don't really understand what it means. I think something very similar. For example, if you are a typographer and if you've never seen letterpress,
Yeah.
if you've never seen how they were cast out of metal, and you miss something, and then you don't. That's when so-called non-designers, they play around with leading, and they don't even know why leading is called leading or tracking, and so they mess with a lot of typography. By the way, most of the on-screen typography is quite bad.
Yeah.
And that's because I don't think people studied them the way they should have been.
Like the true graphic design discipline
yeah.
used to.
And I think that's what makes a lot of interface designers really poor designers, because they don't get
They
this.
haven't got the foundation.
They haven't got the foundation. That's a big problem. That's a big miss. And it's again not their problem, because nobody taught them and they've never seen where these words, where these things come from. So I think that's what they're going to miss, and possibly design schools should still show some of
100%.
this.
You have to build that foundation. And so when people ask you, like young designers, when they ask you, Joy, what do you think design will look like in 5 years, or what user experience will look like, what do you say?
Now there are two things. User experience or interface design is very small part of broader design. For me, if you're a designer, then be a designer, as in
Broad.
you should
In the broad
understand
sense, yeah.
where design comes from, starting right from
Architecture, art,
art,
and all that.
So every part of that is what makes you a designer. Like a musician is never lonely, right?
Correct.
So like a designer is never without a job. I mean, he can at least design something for himself or design his own life. So I think design is very, very broad. And to be a truly like all these guys I'm talking about, Kohei Sugihara, Naoto Fukusawa, all these big folks, Dieter Rams, they're like philosophers. They're so well read. They think very deeply about human condition. They're not always talking. The problem sometimes with this world of interfaces and UX is that it optimizes for human wants and not human needs. So human wants may be like cheaper something, or more choices, or faster delivery or something like that. But human needs are very different.
And they're often unarticulated.
Human needs dignity, companionship, belonging, yes, to be acknowledged. I mean, most of the world does not even get acknowledged.
That's so interesting.
So I don't think the interface designers get it.
Wow, I love that. Dignity-centered design would be interesting, right? Rather than just conversion-centered.
See, ultimately it plays out.
It does. Whether you design it or not, it is going to have an unintended consequence.
We've seen it so many times. The littlest of things that we do, the delight that comes. For example, if you ordered from Zomato and if you say in a hospital, it'll say, we're prioritizing your order because we know you're already in pain.
Do you do that?
Yeah, we do that.
Really?
It's a very small thing.
Wow.
But it makes a very big difference.
It makes a big difference.
So
I wish people knew that. Well, now maybe they will.
No, so similarly, there are many such little things that we do, and we should keep doing. And not only we, I think a lot of new age startups and companies, I think they are moving towards this kind of a little more human-centric design. And profit, of course, is a motive. But then overall, I think the motive should be the one you're working for. Whether they really love you.
More like conscious capitalism.
Yes.
Okay. Joy, we're moving to the next segment called Bakwas or Brave.
Okay.
I'm going to give you examples of some design overhauls or design launches
Okay.
that were in the news
Okay.
for the wrong reasons, and I want your take on them. Right? Were they bakwas or were they brave? Okay, so the first one is the Jaguar rebrand.
I think it's a disaster.
Okay.
It's a bit of a serious disaster. I mean, the way to kill your legacy. It's such a beautiful brand, actually. For me, it's like very close to where Rolls Royce is in terms of the quality of the brand, and if you see those cars, and I think Jaguar made some of the most beautiful cars in the world. Most beautiful. I mean, so you just look at their cars, and I know they're not very. I mean, you never know when it gives out, but yeah, still, I think one of the most beautiful car companies, the most beautiful cars, and a complete disaster.
Second example, you may have heard of this, but Johnny Ive designed the Ferrari EV,
Yes.
and it's getting some really bad reviews.
Yeah, I know the external looks a bit different from what a Ferrari should be.
Yeah.
But the
Internals
are like,
inside experience.
I thought they look very much like Apple Watches.
That's true.
Right? But I still prefer those manual sort of controls.
The haptic.
And I think it's very beautifully done, by the way. And then I come from a very old school,
No, but there's something about those haptic experiences of the switches
Right.
that I think you should retain. I 100% agree.
So I think it's a brave thing to do for.
It's brave? Okay. And the last one is the Trump phone.
I actually hadn't heard of it, but I think those gold ones.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like gold as a color
Yeah.
for any of my instruments. So from that perspective, but honestly, I don't have any feelings this way or that way.
Okay. All right. I can tell you one reviewer said that the Trump phone looks like a urine sample. So I guess that says it all. If you look at it, you'll know why.
Right. Okay.
All right. We are getting into the rapid fire. You can answer in one word or more, but
Okay.
I guess the idea is short answers.
Short answers.
And I'll go through these questions pretty quickly. If not design, what would you be doing?
So when I was young, I was really inspired to be a fighter pilot.
Wow, I could have never guessed.
My uncle was. He was a pilot officer, but I think he crashed his plane pretty early, 1965 or something. But his entire stuff was there, so as to keep wearing and look at his albums. But then, it didn't work out like that. But if I were not, probably would have been a doctor or a physician or a surgeon. Yeah.
Okay, a surgeon. All right. And I think I kind of asked this, but I'll ask again. One product whose design genuinely impresses you right now.
Now I want to change my answer.
Okay.
If you like, say, Dieter Rams, then you should look at Naoto Fukusawa's work. It's another level.
Even
It's another level.
beyond Dieter.
It's beyond. And also there's this whole brand called Muji.
Yeah.
Right? Now what is very interesting about Muji is typically they're not fully complete as a product. So the user can engage with it and make the thing its own. So there are some products like that. It's not completely finished all the time. So there's a whole
So you leave a little bit of the IKEA effect to happen there.
To that. But so a lot of these.
So Muji would be
something
right
very, very impressive. Yeah.
Biggest myth about leadership design roles or design leadership roles?
It's more of my transformation. So moving from maybe a decision maker or a manager to, I think now it's more about stewardship. At least right now, I'm not trying to lead something or even make decisions about or choosing something. It's more about making sure the team chooses right or chooses well.
It's more nudge.
It's more, and that's the same thing across for me, for the product, the designers, to engineers, to even the leadership, saying that I'm not really wedded to because the leaders also have so much instinct today After having built for such a long time, and this is one of those things, you go to any industry, it's very deep. So if I just walk in as a designer and say, okay, I know what I know, that's not going to work. But yeah, over 30 years, I've picked up certain things, and for me, it's like, this is what I think, see if it helps. And for designers,
That takes a lot of maturity to actually adopt that
I'm trying
way
to.
of doing.
Haven't
things,
got there, but
because the creator's curse is that when you've created something, you get seriously attached to it,
yes.
and then to have a viewpoint that I'm not really trying to push this.
Right.
I hope you guys are ultimately arrive at the right decision is hard.
Yeah, because if I have to be creator, then it would be closer to art. And
Okay.
yeah, and design is a little bit out there. It's really it's for the people, by the people, kind of a thing. And I think my role today is where I'm steward to a better design and a product team.
Do you do any kind of art right now?
I'm not doing right now, but I'm writing my own book, and
Okay,
I do
so you
my own
write.
design. Yeah, so I do that separately. Once in a while, sketch.
Still do photography?
Now it's down to my iPhone, but
Okay, iPhone.
but I'm actively hunting for a good Fuji.
Nice. One thing AI will never replace in UX design.
Again, if it's UX design, chances are it will everything.
Okay.
But if it's a larger context
Design.
of design,
Okay,
then it's different.
So what's the one thing?
Hard to answer, but I'll try and answer. There was this American playwright, 1940s, 50s. He was black, he was gay, and a wonderful writer, James Baldwin.
Okay.
I don't know if you heard of him. And he said the purpose of art is to lay bare all the questions that have been hidden by answers.
Wow. All the questions that have been hidden by answers.
So today, I think across the entire that world of humans, we have just too many answers.
Too many ready-made answers.
Ready-made answers. And I think somewhere design also plays a role. Maybe in not creating more mystery, but maybe demystifying some of that. And like I said, I think what a machine does not understand, it does not understand human consciousness. It's not sentient in the way we are. Things which are very trivial for us, it's very hard for a machine like that. I think what it does not replace is the humanness. I think
So
that's
ability
where
to question, really?
ability to question and question right, because machines are wedded to some certain algorithms, certain goals, but a human purpose is just not human artifacts. It's always a little bigger, little larger. But to answer it a little more simply, I think it does not take over your decisions per se. So we will live with a co-agency kind of a thing. Like a lot of people talk about, can you personalize this app completely for me? Let it order everything for me. The problem is I still want some control, right? I still want to say, okay, you can tell me these are the best 5 things for you, but I still want to pick.
I still want to make the decision.
I still want to make that decision. And I still have to eat that ice cream when it comes. The machine won't eat it for me. So I guess that part where there's certain amount of agency that remains with me, and every act that gives me that agency is the part of the design.
Got it. One thing design schools should actually teach but don't.
One is, I think I'll take that clue from you. I think it should teach policy. Yes. It
As
should.
a tool for innovation and
Yes,
change.
as a tool for it. Because you may think of all the wonderful things in the world, but they'll never come into play.
Because the laws don't allow it,
They don't allow
the
it,
system doesn't allow it.
So a lot of things fall through because of that. But otherwise, I think, again, talking again about India, we don't teach enough of our own culture.
Well, that's actually a really good point.
We don't teach enough about Eastern, and I'm
Our design
taking
has been colonized.
Yeah, absolutely. So we should start, and design has to be for people.
Yeah.
We are sort of putting in, just look at, say, I mean, this used to be a joke during IDC times. Refrigerator doors, they're usually right-handed. So what people typically do is they open the entire thing because we have to hold food with our right hand. For India, it should typically be left-handed, so I can put it like that. So simple things like that. Affordances, like you don't need, if the door goes one way, you don't need handles on both sides. How many times I have seen people trying to pull because they make that small mistake. So I think, but I would seriously say there's so much to learn about Eastern design, and we don't. It's all right. I mean, all these Western designers are very good. The constructs, the computer science, computers, digital innovation, etc. It's all Western, but Eastern design is very different, and it's going to be even more important now in the age of computer science, taking over everything else, smart sciences, AI, because Eastern design is about dynamic grids.
Is this an actual term, Eastern design?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you can probably call it that, but East is about dynamic grids, semantic structures.
Form doesn't follow function necessarily.
No.
Form
There
follows
is-
emotion.
Yeah. There's emotion involved. There's meaning. So the meaning is very, very important. You look at all the, I think,
It's not linear, it's circular.
Yeah. So very interesting. When you go to a temple, again going back that far, the temple itself is the deity,
Yeah. Not just what's inside.
not what's inside. So a lot of these things, and the fractalization, and Professor Trivedi used to teach this, is every pillar, the way the entire thing is built, is based on fractals. Now, much later in 80s, Mandelbrot gave us the tool to understand what fractalization is. But these guys have intuited these things many, many years back. And for us, it seems like what old Shilpa Shastras, they seem like all nonsense. They're not based on absolute measure. They're based on proportions. So a Shilpi, the master architect, would measure his talamana, which is like from the end of this to this part, tip of his middle finger. And with that proportion, he'll build the entire structure.
You know, Fibonacci was actually discovered first in
Yes.
India, right?
Yeah.
Pingala,
So,
right? He discovered it in poetry
yes.
as space between pauses.
Yes. So a lot of these things are now sort of coming back, and we should learn more about this. Not only because we feel greater pride in this, but more about
it could lend a serious new dimension, not just out of some sense of nationalism.
it also helps us understand who we are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
One piece of career advice you'd give to senior designers.
I'll use that. No, I love to hear that from you.
Oh, you're gonna use the reverse. My advice to senior designers would be that I think there's a point at which every designer experiences an imposter syndrome, right? And I think the more senior you are, the more you experience it.
Very true.
And you experience it in terms of, like I got into design to transform something, to change something in the world. I mean, no matter how cliched it might sound, to make the world a better place.
Yes.
And so at some point you look back and you ask yourself, did I change anything? And so I guess the one thing that designers need to start thinking in terms of is impact. And I find that if designers start talking the language of impact, measurable impact, which also ties into the fact that why do we shy away from speaking numbers? Why do we shy away from business discussions?
Right.
Because I think when we do that, we do a disservice to ourselves. We get cut off from impact-related conversation. We might be finding a lot of joy in doing our little creation projects.
Yeah.
But over time, that joy, that dopamine has to come from seeing that thing do what it intends to do. And so I keep telling people who are trying to make that transition to more leadership roles that start thinking not in terms of pretty pictures, but outcomes. So that's the one thing I would tell.
It's a good one. In fact, for every, I think it's a designer's curse. You will go through a lot of that imposter syndrome. Am I even good enough?
Yeah.
And the more senior you are, just that heavy lies the crown.
Yeah, it does.
I think one of the biggest qualities of a true designer is that he or she is fearless. It doesn't matter whether you understand numbers. It doesn't matter if you can do, if you're very introverted. You have to go out there. And one thing actually that I see when we are building our products is nothing beats anecdotal evidence. Numbers can say whatever they want to, but on the ground experience beats that every time. So having spoken to maybe a delivery
Real people
partner,
on the
real
ground.
people, delivery partners, and not just one or two. I mean, then you will get biased with small numbers. But having done that over and over again as part of your regime, as a ritual, makes you a very strong designer. And if you keep looking at numbers, at some point they start clicking. It's not that just by looking at it once. So slowly over a period of time, you sort of start to understand the business. And as you grow as a designer, you have to stop thinking. So, I mean, a good designer makes great screens.
Yeah.
A better designer makes good interactions. But the best of the designers understands the system. And he does systems design. So I think that's the only thing I can...
So system thinking.
Yeah, system thinking.
One book every design leader should read.
Because the theme is Japan, I'm going to say there's a book called Designing Design, I think. That's what
Designing Design?
Yes.
I think I've heard of that.
Kenya Hara.
He's a graphic designer? Or?
He's the one who actually gives you this understanding of space. So white space is not emptiness.
Yeah.
In fact, white space is not even white sometimes.
It could be black.
And that's the kind of, so that's kind of understanding. It could be a navigational tool on an interface. So, and it could be a pathway. It could be lots of things. It's the same thing. Like a teapot is just not a empty space, right? Packaging is just not a protection, or it's so much more. Packaging can actually completely change your marketing and your how you speak to your customer, storytelling. So I think one of the best guys is Kenya Hara.
All right. So Designing Design, guys, make a note.
He can really give you that.
A podcast you love listening to.
I don't know.
Apart from the Yellow Couch.
Yeah. There's Lenny's. There's Lenny's. He does a fairly decent podcast. So you want to know what's happening in the world.
Okay.
In the world of design, product. Lenny's, yeah. He was again part of Airbnb. And very nice podcast because the way he interviews some of the best people and best product managers, product leaders, design leaders. In fact, I think that's one of the podcasts I would recommend everybody to listen to. Yeah.
Awesome. That brings us to the end of the rapid fire.
Okay.
And all the segments I had, Joy. This was fantastic. Thank you. And now we will open up to the audience for questions.
Hi. I have a question. So, Blinkit started with groceries, but now people buy medicines, phones, and everything other. Has the way you think about designing trust changed as the basket value and purchase risk have gone up?
Interesting question because we are literally in the middle of that wave. We started with groceries, but we're really not a grocery app anymore. And assortments have increased to fairly large number. I mean, I was really
What's
surprised.
the average? I mean, I don't know if you can tell
Delhi,
us that.
I think Delhi has, I know what publicly listed number, I think Dipinder was talking about 80,000 products.
80,000
products. Yeah, that's PIDs. That's huge. I mean, if you think about it. I thought we'll never get to that number because, Amazon can do it because they can ship it anytime from any of its warehouses, but we have to be there on the absolutely near the last mile. So that's a lot. But we've moved beyond. Groceries and fruits and vegetables is still a very large segment, but Slowly, many more things. Everything that you need now, anything that you don't need to plan for. You need medicines at 2 a.m. in the morning. I mean, you can't plan for not being sick or your child being sick at 2 a.m. in the morning. You need a doctor consult. So services like these, you could be stuck on a road with a auto problem. So you need to get that right there and then. I think Blinkit's going to be there. See, the timing was just, it's not the moat anymore because that's a habit layer.
That's hygiene now.
Now that's table stakes. That's become the habit layer across at least some of the segments that you work in. Now people are saying, okay, what else? So many times people first search on Blinkit saying, I hope it's there. If it's there, then it comes to me within 10 minutes. Then they go on to other
So the
platforms.
challenge really is how many use cases can you cater to?
I think there is no theoretical limit.
Yeah. Obviously, it's infinite.
But it's hard to have an assortment, say, of Amazon's level and push it to every store in your vicinity. But I think what we're trying to do is to at least get as close to you as possible. And that's not only for Blinkit, it's also true for Zomato.
Yeah.
Your food does not travel so well,
Yeah.
right? Freshly cooked food, it starts to degrade after 25-30 minutes. Again, depends on how hot or cold it is. So we've seen the same restaurant. You ordered for, if the distance is say 6 or 7 kilometers, then it's a different star rating.
And the distance changes the star
and if you're
rating.
from 2.5 kilometers,
Fascinating.
then slightly different star rating. And because food arrives hot
My
and
God.
wonderful. So
Isn't there something you can do in the way you carry that food to?
I mean, you can do whatever, but the food itself is
It's still aging rapidly.
So if you have a pizza, I mean, even if it's absolutely hot, but then even at this hotness, then I think it's the cheese is melting through. But yeah, I mean, you
unless
can.
the pizza was actually getting cooked partly on the
Partly.
way. Like those ready-mix concrete
Right.
trucks where the concrete is getting mixed on the way.
You never know. I mean, technologies would, I mean, we've had lots of ideas throughout. I mean, there are some in Gurgaon, we have these traveling pizza ovens who sort of cook and give it.
I didn't know that. Wow.
So, I mean, people do all kinds of things. I don't know what the future holds, but yes, there could be very, very interesting things. But I think the assortment's going to increase, and whatever your need may be, and which you don't, cannot plan for or don't want to plan for.
Anytime you guys are planning to start delivering by drones?
So, drone
serious
delivery
question,
is
guys.
I know it's a I know. Drones can take a lot of payload. I know 7-8 kgs is not a big deal.
And it cuts time.
Yeah, it cuts
Dramatically.
time, but again, it's India. If you see drones flying,
Yeah, there are rules, and
regulations,
aviation,
people
regulations.
shoot at it.
Yeah.
We can possibly get you to the center of your housing, and then
Drop
runners
it
can
there.
pick it there. It's quite possible. See, everything is kind of possible, but policies, cost, efficiency, and then integrity of the delivery, all those things would be part of that. See, we have to understand where the Western model and Indian models are slightly different. There, the infrastructure is a lot more stable, right? Here, infrastructure varies from locality to locality, right? So, unpredictability of a lot of things are very strong. In fact,
I would say that the potholes on the road to a location impacts the rating of the restaurant.
I mean, if you're trying to deliver, say, soft kebabs, and if you're going over
they're completely
pothole,
destroyed by the time you get somewhere.
absolutely, unless you have some anti-gravity. So, yes, so those kinds of. In fact, if I were not for Blinkit, I would still wonder, how do they do it? And they do it with such efficiency.
They do.
Yes.
Absolutely. All right. Next question. Yes, Vinny.
First of all, thank you so much for this talk. It has been really interesting listening to your insights. But my question is related to the previous question, where what is this there like a one jugaad that you actually adopted? Because people say that the best design is that comes from people. So what is that one jugaad that you actually adopted in your design?
So I think a year and a half back, we brought in delivery partners as PMs into the office and said,
Oh.
let us sit with you and figure out how we should build your app. And lots of insights from them, but I'm going to give you some of them. So they said, आप पूरी इंग्लिश मत लिखना, आप सिर्फ बताना है what is important. Okay, not okay, good, bad. That I can read, that I can do. So so we started. I mean,
That's actually very, very good.
So we
insight,
sort of knew that we
just
should
enough.
do that.
Just don't overwhelm me with that much English.
So now we're trying a whole lot of other stuff. We're trying to make it easy. So a lot of applications have now started using English in the North Belt. Some have started using dual language systems. There's going to be conversational systems coming in pretty soon. Whenever we can scale it, and it's a very big accessibility feature. You'll be surprised how difficult it is for people to type on that search bar. Right?
Oh, yeah?
If you're not very proficient with a particular language, so people will write supari kaatne ki steel wali machine or something like that. They probably will not remember what it is, or they don't know whether they can.
Do people
find
use voice input a lot for that?
if you see the delivery partners, and many of them actually they use WhatsApp, but they don't type.
Yeah,
they send voice messages. I have seen many elderly, instead of typing, because it's hard for them to type, they can, but it's very hard because of the visual thing, and they put in voice inputs. I've seen my mother do it. I was very curious as what are you doing? I said, I'm just searching. So they tap on it and search. So some of those very small one where I can make their lives better. Then we also started adding visuals to it, iconic. So saying yes, no, then cross. So very symbolic sort of systems. Because again, this is a pan-India kind of a system.
Yeah, has to work for everyone.
Very interesting if you go back and read about Otto Eicher, who did the Berlin Olympics, those, what is it called? The pictograms. Although that became
those
very
iconography for all the sports.
But that actually came from Japan. Again, I keep going back to Japan.
No, but I'm not surprised.
Because in Tokyo, when so many people came from across the world, none of them could read Japanese. And they said,
We
what
need
are
a
you
universal
gonna do?
language.
Universal user language. So after that, then, in fact, my first introduction to graphic design or design per se was in 1982. We had the Asiad in India, and that was a very big event. And then I saw this iconography and I said, wow, with just a few strokes, you can capture the whole essence.
Some of them are just amazing, and those sports are so complicated, but still to convey that. That kind of an abstraction, I was blown away by that. Wow.
So that was really cool.
Great question, Vinny. Thank you. Next.
So Blinkit has access to a lot of customer behavior data, right? So do you see a future where the product gets better at understanding what people need before like they even go for looking for it?
So here's the interesting thing. I'm going to take a slightly long-winded route here. You heard of personas, right? In fact, I could have used that as one of the worst things that corporates use. So personas are these, they're very useful as a tool, but they're used as a bell curve, which is like the average, right? Nothing in the distribution of the products that people buy is a bell curve.
Really?
Right? It's a power law, right? If you heard of this law called Zipf's law. So Zipf's law is if you picked up maybe a novel and you picked up the most common word, ranked number 1, then you picked up the next one, say the, and then and would be ranked number 2. It would be, the frequency would be exactly half. Then the third most would be 1/3, 1/4, 1/5, like that. Now Zipf starts showing up when the scale is big, like 100,000 plus. Otherwise, there's too much noise, right? The reason I'm talking about this is our distribution of how products sell falls into Zipfian law. it's not 1 by x, it's 1 by x square. So it's like a little closer to the, it's not a nice bell curve.
So the
Right.
long tail is really long.
Long tail is really long, right? And a lot of people buy certain
Things which no
things
one else
again and
buys.
again and again and
Yeah.
again. No, I mean like F&B, you know, so I mean the top selling could be green chilies, but then ZIF would be you have to cluster. So OTP is what you call as onion, tomato, potato.
OTP.
So
Oh,
OTP,
that's what you guys use OTP for?
so OTP sells obviously a lot, milk sells a lot, curd sells a lot, you know, things like that. Now, what everybody ends up ordering is very small number of items. And yes, the curve is sort of flattening out a little more as more and more assortment sort of comes in. But the frequency is like that. It's like so falls like that, right? Now, based on that, the predictive nature is, yes, I can probably predict it for somebody who's really been on the platform a lot. There are many stochastic models where I can even predict what you want, but I don't think we should do too much of that, right? There's a thing that I need a user to have control. I need the user to have a perception of choice.
Okay. Yeah. You have to balance that.
Yeah. And he needs to have the entire clarity on, you know, when it's going to arrive, how is it going to arrive, and finally at the end of it, the quality of the product. So I can predict a lot, but again, people don't always follow. I mean, even though they're buying the same things, but they're not buying it in the exact same frequency, right? So it's a big distribution. So what I'm coming back to is that we are not an average. We are a distribution. And on a distribution, different kinds of people, different cohorts of people with different affluence levels, they may have a preference, but I cannot stick a product to you, right? So, and the other thing is if I start boosting products like this, it actually kills my curve, which would mean that certain things would start selling even more and killing my assortment. So I wanted to be a little more natural.
Natural.
So I don't want to, I mean, at least that's why I think my data science people may have a different thing to talk about. But as a designer, I would want it to be as naturally distributed as possible. So I'll help you choose, but not make the choice for you.
Wow, what a nuanced answer. Awesome.
So we spoke about impact, we spoke about problems and stuff. So at Blinkit, how do you define that problem is worth solving, because it's pan India.
Yes.
Every problem in every city, be it tier 1, tier 2, and right now I also know you all are getting to tier 3 cities, and the problems range from, I don't know, from heaven to earth. So
Right.
how do you narrow it down and focus on impact? Ki you're impacting the most amount of people by solving the best problem possible. So how does the entire thing function?
Zipf's law. Certain things, a few number of things are extremely common, and a very large number of things are very rare, which helps. Which means that if you start looking at the data from tier 1, tier 2, it's depending on the maturity of that city, is what my understanding is, they behave very similarly. I mean, I actually asked one of the first questions when I came to Blinkit. I was asking the CEOs, do these
Is there a lot of
cities,
difference?
is there a lot of difference? He said, not really. I mean, because we are such a globalized sort of a society, we're so connected, we're seeing the same products. And in fact, that's what one of the things which has happened is now through e-commerce and quick commerce, earlier, if you were living in a tier 2 city, you probably won't have access to the kind of products that a city has. Or if you were in India, then you probably won't have access to products
whatever
which
the
are in
word
New
is
York
using.
and London and all. But today, when my cousins called, said, should we bring something for you? I said, what? What is it that I don't get here? And it's very similar again for these cities. But you're right, there are certain problems that are still there. Like, I think somebody had joked, like a grocery comes in 10 minutes, but ambulances don't come in, right? So I think this is one of the projects
Absolutely,
which is
yeah.
very close to Albi's heart. Is he started?
I'm glad you guys are doing that.
And it's a very hard problem to solve. I mean, I go in there once in a while trying to help out with the IoT and all, but it's a very tough, very expensive product to solve on its own. This is something that governments should solve.
Yeah.
But I really admire the amount of time and effort they're putting into building something like this. Beyond that, it's a very simple product, right? You and I can actually figure out problems. Like, I'll give you an example. Often it happens the moment I've ordered, I remember, or the wife or the mother calls us saying, "Arre, doodh to order karna bhool hi gaye," right? So one of my first projects that I did in Blinkit was called AMTC, which is Add More to Cart. So moment you actually ship, I'm just said order this, we'll give you like a minute or
time
2
window,
minutes to add more. This is a completely a customer delight feature. I mean, sometimes, if the order is small, if I can send the same delivery partner, great. But the CEO was very clear that we don't want to break our promise. If it's going to take longer, send another driver at our expense, because the person is not paying for that extra driver. But that's the whole point, and this is where owning your customer and making sure that the lifetime value is more important than immediate losses and costs are so important. So I think a lot of these things come from our own experiences. So another something happened. There was a big change in Blinkit. I don't know how many of you noticed that, but if you look at the product card today, it has a lot more information. They are asymmetric. It also came from an insight which somebody felt and said, okay, why can't I compare? Why do I have to go inside? And and it made a lot of sense. It sense to some of us and said, let's do it. Let's get all that information out. Why do you make my customer struggle so much? And let him add right from the beginning. Whether or not it really, so it's more about the third C, which is clarity. So you have choice, you have control, but clarity. So what am I buying? Am I buying the best? So I should be able to at least compare very quickly, among say 6 protein bars. Oftentimes some protein bars, they're called protein bars, they've got this much protein. So just to push that out, and somewhere we're also, we are a platform. We cannot say, I prefer this to that, but at least the clarity of that product should come on. I think that's also been one of the tenets, is to make it work for my user. Then he's not going to go away, right? So
can I get the ambulance service in Mumbai right now?
It's a fully, I think, funded by Blinkit, it's, the NGO.
But Mumbai region has it?
We started now in certain parts of Delhi and Gurgaon.
Oh, okay, just in Delhi.
So I think slowly it's going to be, let's see. It's a very, very investment. I really don't know the plans, but yeah, they'll test it out properly.
But that's a problem worth solving.
Yes.
Totally.
Yes, it's a great problem.
More power to you for that. I think we're done.
Okay.
Thank you, Joy. It was an absolute pleasure. I could spend the entire day talking to you, but we will wrap this up right here. Thank you so much.